talked about that today, about the impact of learning for a better world. And I'm going to bring us back, because Jane, before, when I was preparing for today, Mark sent me a link to one of your films, and it picks up on that actually. It was the film We're Off Somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really powerful short clip. It's a beautiful clip. Can you tell me a wee bit about the work featured in that film? Because you've touched already about your community, but it was really powerful around migration and home. And I'd love folk to hear a wee bit more about that.
Okay. So we originally had the idea about exploring migration stories. It was actually 2019. We had something in the improvement plan. We had a lot of, and still do have a lot of success promoting reading for enjoyment. And we were looking to do a bit of work on writing for enjoyment. And we had something in the improvement plan that was going to be about doing some writing with families and so on. And we wanted to work with some creative partners. And we had a few things lined up. And then, of course, the pandemic came along, and that kind of, that was on the shelf, and it was on the shelf for a good while. And as you know, it was very difficult to work with families during the next wee stretch in school. And but the reading for enjoyment was something that we could do, we could promote and so on. And we were coming to a point where we were working through the Reading Schools programme, and we had our eye on gold. One of the big things in that is community work and working with the community. And we're just getting to that point where we could work with families, or we could plan work with families to be a bit more coherent and not just kind of workshops in the garden and stuff like that, which we were literally doing. We actually did nativities in the school garden, and it was just kind of all bonker stuff. But around about that time, an opportunity came up with Scottish Library Fund, and the theme for applications that year was diversity and equality. So myself and another colleague, we came back to that. We thought, right, we could maybe revisit this, because we always liked the idea, but with a slightly different focus. And it was looking at, exploring migration stories, because we did feel that there was quite a lot of toxicity in the media and around migration generally. And there had also been in the community a few stories coming in about racist incidents. And, if you hear about a couple, you always kind of have a sense there's probably a bit more going on. And no communities thrived during that time. There's a lot of tension, and people were feeling rubbish, and so all these things were going on. And we thought it would be really good to come back at this, but come back at it in a real way of celebrating, migration and finding the commonality between us all, because every family's got a migration story. I mean, I'm not from Glasgow, I came here from somewhere else. Everybody's got that. And lose this notion of it's all these people coming in over here, and kind of thing. So just to get away from that, and the difference that it makes to our community, and how it invigorates us, and the cultural benefits and all these kind of things. So much to go there. So we applied for that fund, and were successful in getting some money. But in doing the application, we were able to plan something out that was a lot better than we had planned before. And we were very keen to involve creative partners in that, because we wanted it to be fabulous. We wanted it to be fabulous. We wanted it to be exciting and fun and lots of engagement.
Because you had your eye on gold.
Because we had our eye on gold, but we just wanted it to be fabulous anyway. We just thought, well, we're going to do this, let's just do it, But also we felt that staff training was going to be very much at the heart of that, because you can't assume that people know stuff. You just can't. And there's always loads that I can learn about these things as well. So we went to WASVEC, who did some really powerful staff training for us way before we started the project, just to kind of get us in the right place and the right, just to get us all together as a staff team, but also to inform the planning that we would do, because the aim was that teachers would plan a sort of bespoke piece of learning with a creative partner. So we had to build all these things into the planning and so on. So that took a wee bit of time, but it was time really, really well spent, because in the end, all classes did a sort of a kind of unique piece of work with a creative partner, exploring stories of migration and so on. So we had Metafrog, who are graphic novelists working in primary setting. Beautiful work coming out of that. We had Lindsay Littlejohn, who is an author, doing a Writing for Enjoyment group extension writing group with some kids in the middle stages. We had Maryhill Integration Network working with Sixes on a drama piece about travelling. We had, again, WASDIC came in and did a global storyline in situ with some staff who were quite new to the school, to give them the training in the school and leading that on. And one of the kind of really lovely ones, pieces that came out of it, was the infants department kind of wrote their own storyline in collaboration with a wonderful Lady Mary Troop, who was formerly of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. She used to work at the Conservatoire as a partner, but when she retired, she just kind of stayed with it, stuck with it, because we had this.
Wonderful.
I know. So they wrote their own storyline, and the thing that's important to point out is this was just after the summer holidays with primary ones. Yeah. So, you know, I'm going, so that's quite,
It's the former head teacher in me twitching.
So yeah, exactly. So we're quite ready for that. But essentially, it's a lovely, lovely storyline called Luna and the Travelling Suitcase, and a wee suitcase comes, and the puppet arrives, and that was just.
And the puppet's in the video.
Yeah.
Well, of course, because Luna was a very important. Luna was very important. I mean, I was feeling we practically had to have a social story when Luna moved on, and actually we had to keep Luna going because Luna had to then be sending postcards from around the world as she travelled because Luna couldn't just disappear. You know, she was so important. But you know, these beautiful pieces of work. That were really engaging for the learners, really positive. But into that we fed work with families where we invited families to come in to join us for story time and share stories, you know, about either their family stories about travelling to Glasgow or, you know, other family members. So we're bringing families into the classrooms, which was really, really nice. We also were celebrating culture through a big food event. So it was nice to bring food in. To be fair in Oakgrove, we've got quite a history doing that, but we couldn't do that for such a long time because of the pandemic and stuff. So we're back to the international cafes, which was wonderful. And we also had some celebration events in the school where the children could sort of showcase their work and the families could be part of it. Extremely, extremely well attended, and really, really quite magical, you know. And I think the one that I come to, because there was all this lovely music and song and art and all these kind of things, but there was just one wee moment in one of the senior showcase moments when, and I think it was maybe one that you attended, Mark, yourself. Do you remember the wee boy starting with a wee piece, I was born in the beautiful country of Nigeria? Yes. Oh, right, well, it's not, because I'll probably fill up with this one. It's just because I was born in the beautiful country of Nigeria, and everybody calls it leaning because, like, you know, do you ever hear Nigeria described as the beautiful country of Nigeria? So anyway, he starts telling this lovely story about his grannies, basically, and his granny's got a farm, his granny's got chickens and all this kind of thing, and everybody, you're going to cry, don't you? But it was when he started saying, you know, just talking about his granny would make you dinner, and of course the chicken got killed, and everybody had to deal with that, and that was fine. But the thing was, it was about, and my granny just keeps feeding you, and my granny feeds you until you burst. This is the bit, and this is when I'm watching the audience because, you know, and you know, just every face, everybody knew that story about your granny feeding you until you nearly burst, and it didn't matter if you're from the beautiful country of Nigeria or if you're from the bottom end of Maryhill. Do you know what I mean? And that for me was just a beautiful moment because it just everything, you know. That's what we wanted to see, that we're all the same.
And